Well, hello everyone. Thank you again for joining us for this little bit of Aramaic this morning. And we're going to continue to look at Matthew chapter 5, verse 2, and compare the Hebrew from the Harley text versus the Aramaic in the Peshitta text. And this may seem like just a kind of a simple sentence, but again, to show you that in the original languages, there's a treasure that can be mined. And so what you see on your screen is on the top is the Hebrew text of the Harley, and underneath it is the Peshitta text. And what you're going to notice here is this first word that's translated as he opened is Vayitach. And it comes, the whole sentence structure just stands out to me as being very interesting. Listen to how it just sounds in English, and he opened his mouth and taught them. Okay, why would this be necessary to describe the opening of his mouth? Because isn't that just how teaching goes, when speaking goes, when you hear someone come on the news and they're quoting them or that they're telling you what they said, they don't come up and say, this prominent person opened his mouth and taught them, saying, it's just strange verbiage. And so when we see something like that, it causes a remez, a little pricking inside. To investigate this further and find out, okay, in these seemingly um, minuscule words that, what meaning could there be? And so, in comparing the Hebrew text above, by Yiftach, you look down below here and you see virtually the same letters. You see the Vav, Pei, Tav, uh, the Het. And so it's virtually the same in the Aramaic. But what you do see in the Hebrew is this Aleph Tav, which is the direct object marker, and that is pointing the emphasis to the next word, which would be pihu, or his mouth, where in Aramaic you do not have the direct object marker. And so that's something very interesting because you don't have that in English either. In English, you have to kind of determine what the subject or the main focus point is of the sentence just by the context. But in Hebrew, it can tell you that why would Hebrew feel necessary to have the direct object marker on the next word, meaning his mouth? And so all of this just raises some very interesting things. The Aramaic does not have that, but then the next word here for pume, which is the word for mouth, his mouth, and then the word for taught, vilamed, here in the Hebrew. It is the bemalev here in the Aramaic, but then it also has the word of hav, which is more of the word of to be, of saying that this was happening or will be happening. And then the lahun, to them, which is equivalent to otam. And then finally, the last word, va'amar in the Aramaic, the word amar meaning to speak or to say. And then in the Hebrew, it would be the lamed preposition up before amar of lemor, saying that he's speaking to them. So again, very similar analysis. But what we want to look at first here is this word of he opened and see if there's something in there. So we unpack this understanding here of this word, and we see that it's listed with an ID number in the Peshitta. So we go and we click on that ID number. It comes up with a lexicon format. And what we're looking for here is to go to Marcus Jastrows and just see what he has to say about this word. And when we open it, we see the word petach, and it is used as he opened, but it's really giving reference to a door or a gate, something that passes through. And I find that very interesting that this verse is making reference to just the ability of these words to come out of Jesus. And so there must have been something that struck the writer here, that he would make reference to just the oration. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been in the presence of someone who has just been um, so filled with speaking and oratory skills that your mouth just drops. You hear him or her speak, and you are just impressed by the way they put their sentences together, the command of the language, the force behind it, and the feeling and empathy behind these words. That's what I unpack on this word here, and why it was so important for the writer to make mention of it. And then when we come to this next word of being taught, and it's lamed. Doesn't seem like it has anything fantastic to tell us until we realize that this is in a PL form. And we notice also in the Aramaic, it's in a PL form. And this is telling us that during this teaching, this is the most intensive use of this verb that we can derive from both the Hebrew and the Aramaic. And so it just sets us up for understanding that this teaching was something where everyone was just hanging on his every word. They were attentive. We know that they sat in this big, hot, empty field for hours while he taught them. And so it had to be something that was very compelling for them, really drew them in, that their spirits were touched by everything that was going on there. And this was not just a normal have a picnic out in the field. This was a very spiritual, very emotional experience where God had brought these people together, and they were hearing and they were engaging, and every word that Jesus said to them was being captured and being received within in their hearts and lives. And so I hope you see the joy of unpacking these words, and that you are blessed by it and motivated to know that God's word has such great treasures, and there's no limit to what we can learn, what he can teach us, and where we can go in the study of God's Word in the original languages. So God bless you all. Have a wonderful day, and see you next time. Bye bye.